Yes? Can I help you?
I have an appointment at 10 o'clock with Miss Perkins. It's an interview for the job in customer service.
Here, why don't you fill this out while you wait? Here you go.
I bet he's here for the same job as me.
I'm so nervous. I bet you can see my hands shaking.
How come he looks so calm? I hope nobody can tell how nervous I am.
Jennifer Baylor?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Miss Perkins. Won't you please follow me?
Here goes.
Thank you. Have a seat, Jennifer. So, Jennifer, you're here for the position in customer service. Your resume looks very interesting. Now tell me something about yourself. Why do you think this company should hire you? And what do you have to offer us?
So, what'd you think? Huh? Suppose an interviewer had asked you those questions. What do you think you'd say?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'd be just as terrified as Jennifer was.
Me too. Yeah. Well, that's why we're having this workshop. It's to make sure that you have answers for questions like that. You know, preparation is the key to a successful interview. The more you prepare, the more confident you're going to be, and the better your chances are for making sure that that interview works in your favor. Now, first of all, let me tell you about what we're going to be doing in the workshop. We're going to be looking at some videotape interviews, and then we're going to talk about them. We're going to come up here and we're going to do some role playing so that you can practice your interviewing techniques. And we're going to hear some expert advice from someone whose job involves a lot of interviewing. And her name is Adele Chatterow.
An interview is an opportunity to sell yourself, to show yourself in a positive light. It's the chance you have to sit face to face with the person who's doing hiring and to convince that person of all the reasons why you're right for the job. So it should be looked at in a very positive light that you have the chance to show why you have the qualifications and you should be hired.
Selling yourself and making a good impression, that's what makes for a successful interview. Let's look at this situation and see how good Dennis is at selling himself.
Come right on in.
This is my resume.
You're here for the assistant baker's position.
Yeah.
Do you like baking?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I see you took a lot of courses at school: cake decorating, pastry making, costing and production. How did you do?
Not bad.
And I see you have experience working in restaurants.
Right. I worked in a lot of places. I put it all down in my resume.
Well, if I were to ask your former employers to tell me a little bit about you, what do you think they would say?
Wow. I don't know.
So what do you think of Dennis's skills at selling himself?
Pathetic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all there was to tell.
Oh, come on. He had to be able to make himself sound more interesting than that.
I mean, all he did was give one-word answers. Yes, no, maybe.
Of course, he could have made himself sound more interesting. And he could have definitely done a better job at selling himself if he had prepared.
But how could he know what to prepare? He didn't know what that guy was going to ask him.
Not specifically. But, you know, all interviewers are going to ask questions. And there are some questions that you can be sure are going to come up. So if you prepare your answers ahead of time, you can make sure that you're not sitting there like Dennis did with nothing to say.
What kind of questions do you mean?
Well, like the questions that Mr. Lawrence asked in the interview. What kind of courses you took in school? Your experience. Why'd you choose to work in that field or for that company? Or why should the company hire you? Here's how Dennis's interview would have gone if he would have prepared for it.
Come right on in.
This is my resume.
You're here for the assistant baker's position.
That's right. I saw the notice posted in the job center at school.
Do you like baking?
Yes, I really do. It's hard work, but I like it.
Well, I see you took a lot of courses at school. Cake decorating, pastry making, costing and production. How did you do?
Pretty well. Of course, I know they only teach you the basics in school. The real stuff you learn on the job. And I want to learn as much as I can.
Well, I see you have experience working in restaurants.
Right. I worked at Capella's restaurant and the Blue Dolphin. I was a busboy and a waiter. Oh, and I worked for a caterer doing private parties in people's houses for 1 year.
Well, it's very impressive, Dennis. Tell me something. If I were to ask your former employers to tell me a little bit about you, what do you think they would say?
I think they'd say I was pretty reliable and that I got along with everyone, customers and the other workers. I listed them as references on my resume.
What a difference. And all he really did was expand on the answers he gave before.
Well, that's what selling yourself is all about. Giving complete answers to emphasize your best points.
And what if you have nothing too terrific to say about yourself? Unless you sort of alter the truth?
Well, first of all, don't lie. I mean, that'll only backfire and cost you in the end. But to answer your question about not having anything terrific to say, let's go back to Dennis for a second. Now, he's a very average student. So listen to what he said when Mr. Lawrence asked him about his grades. Let's rewind.
I see you took courses at school. How did you do?
Pretty well. Of course, I know they only teach you the basics in school. The real stuff you learn on the job. And I want to learn as much as I can.
Notice, Dennis didn't lie about his grades. He gave a short, truthful answer, and then he went on to say something positive about himself, like how much he'd learned and how much he was eager to learn more.
Yeah, that was good. Good.
Now I'm going to hand out these sheets that have some of the questions that interviewers usually ask. I want you to look them over, and I want you to think how you would answer them. And then we'll come back and see how you do.
Why are you interested in working for this company? What makes you qualified for this job? What were your favorite classes in school? Your least favorite? Did you participate in any extracurricular activities? What was your greatest achievement? Your greatest failure? If I asked your best friend to describe you, what would he or she say?
Okay, everybody ready? Good. How about if we have two volunteers? One to act as the interviewer and the other to act as the job hunter. Okay, great. You two. Which one of you wants to be the interviewer?
I'll do that.
All right, fine. Come on up front. Now, one word before we begin here. Now, we're all here to help each other, right? Right. So let's make sure that the criticism is given and taken in that spirit. Kendra, I understand you already have an interview prepared?
Mm-hmm. It's at the Clothes Source. It is a fantastic store. The owner designs most of the clothes. Designing is really what I want to do someday. Anyway, the interview is for a sales job.
Okay. Here goes. So, Kendra, why do you want to work in a store like this?
Well, I love clothes and fashion. Ever since I took a great sewing course at the Y, I started making all my own clothes and things for my younger sister, too. I made this.
Well, this is for a sales job. Now, what qualifies you for this job?
Well, I like working with people. I'm pretty outgoing, and I like putting different clothes together. I think that's what it takes to be a good salesperson.
But why do you want to work here?
Because I love your clothes. And I know you're thinking about expanding and opening up another store next year.
Wait, hold up a second. How'd you know that?
I remembered seeing an article about the store in the paper a few months ago, so I went to the library and got a copy.
Well, what made you do that?
Well, I figured the more I knew about the place, the better. That way, I could show him that I'm really interested in working there.
You know, finding out about the company ahead of time is a fantastic thing to do.
Wait a second. Kendra knew there was an article, but suppose you don't know anything about the place.
That's a great question. Why don't you guys sit down? You know, why don't we refer back to our expert interviewer, Adele Chatterow? I think she can help us with this.
There are several ways you can find out about a company. First of all, you can ask the person who arranged the interview for you or who told you about the opportunity and see if they have any information. You can ask your family and friends. Ask around and see if anyone has heard of the company or if they know anything about it. Your school may also be helpful. Ask the placement officer or the guidance counselor if they have any information you can look up. And lastly, you can call the company itself. Ask the operator or the person who answers the phone, and if they can help you, ask to be connected to the Human Resources Department, and perhaps they can send you literature or there's some information that you could stop by and pick up.
I don't know about calling a company. What would you say? It sounds so embarrassing.
Well then, let's practice. Elaine, come on up. Elaine, let's say that you have an interview with the Acme Machine Company, and it's with the marketing department. Now, you know the qualifications for the job, but you don't know what the company does. So let's call them and find out.
Just call up?
What are you worried about? The other person doesn't know who you are.
Well, suppose they ask.
So what? You're not committing a crime.
Larry, you be the person on the other phone.
Okay.
Elaine, go ahead.
Acme Machines?
Could you tell me what your company does?
What do you mean, what do we do?
What kind of business is it?
Why do you want to know?
What should I say?
Tell him you have an interview for a job and you need to know.
Okay. I have an interview tomorrow, so I'd like to know.
Okay, we make calculators.
Thanks. That wasn't so bad.
And remember, if for any reason the person on the phone won't help, then you ask for the Human Resources Department. Okay, good. Have a seat.
What does selling yourself mean? What can you do to help sell yourself? Why is it important to know what a company does? Why is preparation the key to a successful interview?
When you go out for a job, you aren't the only person that the interviewer is going to see. So you want to make sure that you stand out, but in a positive way. Now, your appearance and your behavior play a very big part in the impression that you're going to make on the interviewer.
Like showing up on time.
Being on time, or better yet, being about 15 minutes early.
Looking good, clean, neat, stuff like that.
Right? Shower, deodorant, things. Don't laugh. And don't forget it. Okay? We're talking about clean hair. We're talking about close shaves for the guys. Not too much makeup, no flashy jewelry.
Dressing right.
What do you mean, right?
Neat. Clean. Shoes. Not sneakers. Pants. Not jeans. I'd wear a skirt.
That's so phony. I think you should dress like you always do. You should look like yourself, not pretend to be somebody you're not.
But you're trying to make an impression. You want the interviewer to know that you're serious and reliable. Stuff like that.
I'm reliable.
Well, I know that. But what does the interviewer know about you? Nothing. All she knows is what she sees.
Hey, this is me. I'm not going to try and pretend to be somebody else.
Let's just hold up a minute here, and let's go back and look at the office that we saw before. What would be your first impression of these two people if you were the interviewer?
I'd say the guy in the shirt and tie looked serious about getting the job. I'd look at the other guy and figured he didn't care enough to make an effort.
That's not fair. What does fair have to do with it? Maybe the interviewer is going to see 10, 15 people. She's going to choose one. Why hurt your chances before you even start?
Now, look at this. So what do you think? Do you think he has a better chance of getting the job now or before? Let's hear what our expert Adele Chatterow has to say.
It's very important to create a good first impression. And the way you walk, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself creates an impression even before you open up your mouth to speak. So you should dress appropriately for an interview and dress conservatively. Boys may wear pants and a shirt and tie and regular shoes, not sneakers. And girls, an all-purpose outfit may be a skirt and sweater or a skirt and blouse, stockings and low-heeled shoes. So if you're dressed conservatively in a comfortable outfit, then you'll be successful on the interview.
Here's another situation. Let's see what you think about this one.
Yes, can I help you?
My name is Jane Masterson. I have an appointment with Philip about the junior stylist job.
I'm Philip.
Take a seat. I'll be with you in a minute. Can I help you?
Me? No, I'm with her, you know, moral support, keep her company. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Jane?
It's fine.
Jane? Jane? I'm ready.
Oh, sorry.
Your friend can wait here.
Yeah, I'll keep out of the way. Good luck.
So what's the impression? Makes her seem, I don't know, like a baby.
Yeah, like she can't be out on her own. Showing up with a friend. That's real adult.
You got it. Not much of an impression, huh?
Why is it important to create a good first impression? How does your appearance affect the impression you make? How should a young man dress for an interview? A young woman? Do you think it's fair to criticize someone for bringing a friend to an interview? Why?
Let's talk for a minute about what I call interview etiquette. Now here's Charles. We saw him earlier. He finally got his interview with Miss Perkins.
Charles Palmer?
Miss Perkins?
Won't you please follow me? Won't you please have a seat? Let me just look at your resume.
What's your impression of Charles?
He seems so jittery.
Well, that's because he's nervous.
Yeah, but there's nervous and then there's nervous.
Well, I feel for him. What could he do?
Well, sometimes when I'm nervous, I take a few deep breaths. Or a sip of water, or chew on a hard candy. It makes me feel better. Maybe that's why he's chewing gum.
But if we're talking about manners, I don't think he should.
You're right. No gum and no smoking. But some water or candy before the interview may help to calm you down. What about his other manners? Let's rewind.
He should wait for her to offer to shake hands.
And to tell him to sit down.
Won't you please have a seat?
And about being nervous. You know, every interviewer expects you to be nervous. It's natural. So just try and be as confident and as upbeat as you can. So, how about if we have Marcy and Stuart take a try at some role playing? You have any interviews set up, Stuart?
Yes. Well, I have an interview with the power company to get on one of their crews. You know, the kind that cuts down tree limbs off the power lines. I have an appointment with a Mr. Mangello or Manganiello. I'm not sure which.
You had better get the name right. That is a real turnoff to be called the wrong name.
Well, should he do what we said before? Call the company and ask the operator or receptionist for the name?
Yep. And you should repeat the name. That way you're sure to get it right. Marcy, Stuart. Oh, wait. Let's take this one from the top. Where's your resume? All right, make sure you get this typed before the interview. And bring 2 copies, just in case you have to give one to someone else. And one more thing, don't fold it. You want to keep it neat. You might want to keep it in a folder. Everybody got that? Okay, now, Stuart, why don't you come in from over here as if you're entering the office?
Have a seat. May I see your resume?
Yeah, sure. All right, let's stop right here. What do you notice?
Stuart looks not so much nervous as, bored, not interested.
I think it'd help if you just sit still. And shouldn't he say yes, not yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah sounds too casual. You've got to stay away from slang. It's just not businesslike. Besides, the interviewer may not even know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yes. No slang. Sit still. Got it.
Why do you think I should hire you?
Hire me? Well, I've taken courses in conservation, and I really want to do this work.
Stop a minute. Stuart, why aren't you looking at me? Shouldn't you be looking me in the eye?
It's a great point. One of the most important things to remember is to make eye contact. Look at the interviewer. Don't look at the floor or around the room.
Okay. Where were we?
Okay, I was going to ask you another question. Oh, okay. Could you tell me a little bit about your work habits?
My work habits. My work habits.
Well, what's the problem?
I don't know what she means, my work habits.
Then ask. You know, whenever you're not sure about a question, just ask for an explanation. So just politely ask if you're not sure.
I'm sorry. I don't understand what you mean.
Okay. Do you work well with others? Because this job requires that you be part of a team. So it's important that you can work in a group.
Oh. I work fine with other people. In class, on the baseball team, that's no problem.
That's good. Why don't you guys take a seat?
How does your behavior affect the impression you make? What can you do to overcome nervousness? What are some ways to ask for an explanation if you don't understand a question? What does the appearance of your resume say about you?
Now I'd like to move on to something else. I would like for you to think about some questions that you would like to ask the interviewer.
Us? We're supposed to ask questions?
How else are you going to know if the job's right for you?
That's right. When you ask questions, it shows that you're interested in the job and in the company. Larry, let's start with you. What would you like to ask the interviewer?
Something like, what would I be expected to do?
That's good. Marcy?
Well, I'd want to know about the hours.
Can you ask about dress codes and things like that?
That is a legitimate question. Imagine walking in the first day dressed totally wrong.
How about vacations? Or salary?
Well, that's touchy. Let's go back to our expert, Adele Chatterow.
Asking questions allows you to find out more about the job opportunity. It shows that you can think on your feet, and it also shows the interviewer that you're not anxious for your meeting to be over as quickly as possible. So come to an interview prepared with some questions. There must be things that you want to know about the job. Ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are those that can't be answered with a yes or a no. So, for example, instead of saying, is this job 9 to 5, say, could you describe for me what a typical day would be like? If you have questions about salary or about benefits, never ask them in the beginning of the interview. Always save them until the end. And again, you should ask them in a very general way so you don't put the interviewer on the spot. So say things like, could you describe for me what the salary structure is like here? Or can you tell me a little bit about your employee benefits program? Rather than saying, will my dental bills be covered? Or is there tuition reimbursement? In this way, you're not putting them on the spot, and it gives you a chance to get to know each other a little bit better.
Now, let's see someone try to put together all the things we've been talking about. This is Kim. She's interviewing for a job as a receptionist in a dentist's office.
I have an 11 o'clock appointment with Dr. Josephson. My name is Kim Matthews. You're a few minutes early. Have a seat in the waiting room. I'll tell her you're here. Thanks. Kim Matthews is here. Well, I'll be right with her.
Kim's planning to go to a community college after graduation and study to be a dental hygienist. So this job seems perfect for her. Let's see how she handles things.
Kim Matthews? Yes. Hello. Well, you certainly are punctual. Thank you. Oh, my resume. Great. Why don't you step into my office? Sure. Have a seat. Well, I see from your resume that you've taken a lot of science courses. I really like science, and I did well in it. That's why I'm thinking about studying dental hygiene. Oh, really? Because you like science? That and because I like to work with people. We had this career seminar at my school, and dental hygiene sounded interesting.
Oh, well, that's very nice, but of course you can't work on patients until you're certified. You understand, I hope, that I'm looking for a receptionist.
Oh, I know that. And like I said, I like to work with people. That's a big part of what a receptionist does. And also, I think it'll be a very good experience for me to work with a dentist.
Well, the job entails a lot of record keeping and bookkeeping. I see you've never worked in an office.
No, but I'm good at keeping track of things, and I'm really organized. My mother says, my teachers too, that I'm one of the most organized people they know.
Well, a lot of my patients are children, and it can get pretty hectic around here.
Oh, that won't bother me. I've done a lot of babysitting, and I like kids.
It's very commendable that you're going to school. But are you sure that you can handle a job and attend classes?
Oh, I don't think there'll be any problem. Now, according to your ad, the hours are from 8:30 to 3:30. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, I'll be going to school at night, so it won't interfere.
Well, good. Well, do you have any questions?
I wrote them down. You really are organized. Well, my first question is, what are my duties? What would be expected of me when I work?
What do you think Dr. Josephson is thinking now?
She has to be impressed. Kim sounds so enthusiastic.
She must have a positive feeling.
That's right. Because Kim has presented herself as someone who will show up on time, ready to work, who's pleasant and capable. And that's the most important thing you can have an interviewer think about you. Now watch this.
Thank you for stopping by, Kim. I do have a few more people I have to see before I hire anyone.
Would it be okay if I gave you a call in a few days to see if you made your decision?
Certainly.
You know what Dr. Josephson is probably thinking now? This girl really wants this job. She's not going to leave it to me to get in touch with her or to take the chance of getting lost among a bunch of other applicants.
I want you to know that I really like to work here. Thank you very much for seeing me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Goodbye.
And she leaves, making another good impression.
She looked really good.
What she looked most of all was prepared. And did you notice? She knew when it was time to leave. So if the interviewer says, "I'll call you," or stands up, then that's your cue to say goodbye. But Kim has one more opportunity to make a really good impression.
Dear Dr. Josephson, thank you very much for the interview at your office on April 3rd for the position of receptionist. I enjoyed talking with you, and I want you to know that I'm very interested in the position. Please let me know if you need any additional information from me. I would be happy to see you for another interview. I will call you in a few days to see if you have made a decision. Thank you again for considering my application. Very truly yours, Kim Matthews.
Thank you letters are a terrific opportunity for you to set yourself apart from everyone else. If you go home from an interview and you write a thank you note or thank you letter, it gives you a chance to put your name in front of the person that you met with a day or two after your first interview. So it really sets you apart. If I'm hiring for a position and there are two candidates of equal qualifications, one sends me a letter and one doesn't, I'm more likely to hire this person who sent me the letter. The most important thing is to be really enthusiastic and very positive. If you want the job and you feel you're right for it, tell the interviewer, let them know throughout the interview that you can do it, that you're willing to work hard, and that you really want this job.
Positive, enthusiastic. That's what you're after, and that's what I want to see from you. So break into pairs, and let's practice those interviews.
All right. Okay. Do you want to do that?
What are some questions you could ask an interviewer? What are some cues that tell you the interview is over? Why do you think a thank you letter is important? What can it accomplish? What points should the letter cover?